can I touch on one other thing, right? So the last 3 terms of government or 4 terms of government have spoken a lot about having a railway network from the airport into the city. Do you think we'll get railway network in the next 10 years?
Well, if you think about Auckland Light Rail as a concept,
Yes.
well, it's quite clear that as Auckland grows, it's going to need to move from reliance on largely private vehicles to much better, faster, more reliable, cleaner public transport.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Northern Express busway, dedicated busway, there's an example of the kind of system that we should be installing in West Auckland. Now, I was involved in building the Constellation Drive bus station many years ago when I worked for Downer. And back in 2006, 2008. And I thought, oh, geez, it won't be long before we've got one of those out in the west where I live. Well, here it is. It's 2024, and this government has committed to building that. Now, I would like to think that all of these projects can be delivered in a reasonable time frame, but whether it's light rail, whether it's a busway, you actually need to plan for it. You need to plan well in advance. You need to be thinking that if we said yes now, when are we likely to start? And what are we going to do?
And is it going to cost us $16 billion?
Right?
And where's the money going to come from?
Because I can guarantee if the previous Prime Minister and the previous Labor government had said, instead of saying we're going to start building light rail in 2017 and we're going to have the first station in Mount Roskill open by 2021, if they'd said we're going to spend 2 years investigating and coming up with a solution that benefits not just that part of Auckland, but all of Auckland, they would have come up with a comprehensive mass rapid transit scheme. It would have looked something like the existing ATAP program, and it would have shown where future growth is, and then they would have been able to target investment towards that, and probably would have been something like the Northwest Busway, or bringing forward improvements, the links between Botany at the airport, or between the Eastern Busway, for example. Now, light rail may well be something that is in our future, but right now, they haven't even secured a corridor for that. We don't have the urban planning rules set up to capture value that would otherwise go to the private sector, that should be returned to the government that is building, and the Crown that is going to pay for the transport infrastructure assets. So we've got to do the planning. We've got to set up the system so it works.
So back to my original question: do you reckon we will have a railway line from the airport to the city in the next 10 years?
Look, it's not in the current government's list of priorities, but the Northwestern Busway is, and so is continuing to fund projects like the Eastern Busway, and other projects that require Crown funding or funding from the centre.
Fair enough. Sorry, I pushed you on an answer for that, but it's
no,
it's
fair
interesting.
enough. If I wasn't clear, it's not on the government's current
mandate
program.
because there's 4 terms of government. They keep talking about it, starting to do something with it. Nothing happens.
Well, remember though, in 2016, before Jacinda Ardern's Labor government was elected, Auckland Transport had already decided to do it and was proceeding to do it, and that project was commandeered by the former Transport Minister Phil Twyford, who insisted Auckland Transport stop work because he was going to fix it. And what have we got? 6 wasted years. Imagine if Auckland Transport had just been allowed to get on with it. So, look, I mean, it's very, very disappointing, particularly for people who own businesses or live and work along the Dominion Road corridor, for example. If you're a business owner, like 6 years of just not knowing what's happening. When you want maybe to develop a property, build mixed-use residential, commercial, 6 wasted years. So look, we've got to put that behind us. The money's been spent. They're winding up the project right now. A phenomenal waste of money, $228 million, and nothing.
Is that much? $228
million,
wow.
Nothing but technical reports and a business case. But I mean, we got to think about what we can get that's value for money. Considering how much money's been wasted, how much money's been borrowed, and how we're going to pay for these things.
The past is the past. I think it's the future that matters. That's the only thing we can change, right?
That's right.
So looks like we have a positive outlook and a lot of construction projects coming up from the new coalition government. That's right. That's all I heard of that.
That's right.
Cool.
We'll be getting on with building, and my role in that is to reform the Resource Management Act, Resource Management Planning Law in the long term, and help solve the funding and financing part of the puzzle for Minister Chris Bishop
Yeah.
in my role as Under-Secretary to the Minister for Infrastructure and RMA Reform.
There we go. That's like music to my ears. That means
All
more
right.
work for me.
All right.